on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Okay, they always do that to me. That's why I was trying to wait. If y'all gonna hear from and y'all gonna owe me some Black History gifts for that. But anyways, as I was saying, we are here with Miss Shamika Murphy. She is let me get this right. She is a financial strategist. I was calling her a financial analyst. I think I called her a financial advisor at one point. She's like, excuse me, I am a financial strategist. So did I get it right?
Yes, you got it right. But I will tell you that it encompasses all of those things, right? I think you go through a journey of, you know what, first, you know the things and you're trying to apply the things to the best of your knowledge. And then once you gain certain knowledge, it's like, wait a minute, I need to play chess, not checkers. And that's where like the strategy comes in, and really looking at financial advice that is specific to where someone is in their journey, the goals that they are trying to achieve, and how to get them there in the best way.
And how to get them there.
Yeah.
And I love that you use that analogy of chess, because I was just about to say, if someone is needing a strategy, they're trying to win a game or win a war. And I was going over this with a colleague of mine. First of all, thank you guys once again for joining into the comment section. I am still Shirley Phillips III. I'm so sorry. We were talking and we didn't know that we were not being recorded. But I am your host, and this is the comment section. So we try to bring you news, content, issues, concerns, questions that are relative to everyone. We don't discriminate here. But because I am a Black woman living in America, I focus on issues that I think are, how do I put this politically correct? Hot topics that serve people that look like me, that we need answers to, like right now. I'm trying not to focus on the negative things that have happened in the past 48 hours? But it's very relative to what we're about to talk about. And what I was saying was, I was talking to a coworker last night, and we were talking about just how marriage and strategy and religion, all of these things are intertwined. And when we were in the middle of talking, I had forwarded a photo that Shamika sent me of former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And I wanted to start off first with you telling me, before we get into what you do and how you do it, what does that photo represent for you financially when you see those two beautiful Black people dancing at that gala?
I want you to know that when that was sent to you, it literally was because I was in my favorites folder, making sure I provided you the right headshot for the show today. And it literally accidentally got included in the message. And then later in the weekend, I'm seeing everyone posting
the other pictures.
And I'm like, I didn't even know what was going on. But I will tell you the reason why it's even in my favorites, and it's also one of the pictures that is on my another picture on my Instagram profile. It's really because it represents excellence for me, not just Black excellence, but excellence. Two people that journeyed through life, right? Even when they met at two different places, but came together and supported each other's dreams, supported each other's goals and passion, right? But the underlying thing that meant something to me, I don't know if anyone here has read the book Becoming.
I did.
But it to me, just knowing what that journey was for them to even be in the White House, certain things that were considered coincidence, right? Certain things that were considered challenges or obstacles, just seeing how they navigated that, not just, Barack Obama being the man of the house and he's the leader and doing what he thinks is best, but knowing the influence that Michelle Obama had on him.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like just seeing that as these two people that came together, the level of support and commitment, because I pride myself in saying, you know what? I've never heard a scandal with these two in the office. Right? Not one. Right. So when I think about all of that and I can see where they were very much grounded in, they were there for a purpose. They were going to serve that purpose. They didn't lose sight of that. And they pursued it in a way that I would say, you know, if it's 100 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
it still will have a certain impact and influence, and it won't be a messy or a muddied one.
It won't. Not at all. And that's what we strive to do. The foundations, the legacy that you leave have to do with, one, like you said, their vision. They kept their vision in full sight. They did not let any of the negative, racist, colorist, whatever narratives that were trying to be created and perpetuated about these people. They ignored all of it. Like, we don't even have time to entertain this. Like, even what we saw the day before yesterday and the day before, I have not heard them even respond to that. I think they did do like a mini talk radio or something, and they were like, can we please talk about something else? We don't even want to entertain that, because that's what they want you to do.
Right.
I'm not gonna say who they is, but back to the subject at hand. Last night I had that talk. You sent that picture, and now you telling me that is included by accident. So I know that this is an intervention. At church service this morning, they were supposed to be talking about just relationships and marriage, and when did singles get so anti-marriage? And he's like, y'all do understand that that's the enemy trying to keep you guys from, coming together and getting that divine blessing and covering that comes with being married. He said, you do know that, right? Because you're not supposed to hate that. And he's like, we don't want to make singles feel bad, but we want you to know that once you get married, there's a whole nother anointing and superpower that you get financially.
Yes.
Spiritually, your house is changed. And so I think my computer might be freezing up, but hopefully you can still see and hear me. But talk to us first about your services. Tell us about some of the services that you provide, and how can one reach you? Like right now, if they just want to get their taxes done, what services do you provide, and how do they reach you?
So going back to how you introduced me. So the reason why initially, like, you think of financial advisor, pretty much in the space, that's really just offering different products. It's saying, hey, you need to have a 401k plan. You need to, be saving for retirement. It's telling folks these things and being able to offer them a product. So I am pretty much in that space where I am licensed. I have my Series 6, 63, 26, and currently finalizing on my 65. I'm coming around, one last lap here to kind of really close the loop on the advisor piece. And that's really because I was in a space where I was doing financial empowerment workshops, and I was telling folks what they needed as a foundation to set themselves up, for their future later in life. And
what age group were you targeting, or was it just anybody that wanted to come?
Anyone that wanted to come to the workshop, who wanted to learn more about financial literacy, who I was just, feeding them information.
Okay.
And it got to a point where I didn't want to just feed them information. I wanted to be able to help them, right? I had folks that I would say, oh, you can reach out to such and such, right? So then it was me trying to make sure I knew people that I know, like, and trust, to introduce and connect folks to off the strength of my word, right? And then it came a point where you think that everyone has the best interest of folks in mind, but there are the ones that are out there and they are just trying to, make money. They're in it for what they need to do, pay their bills, right? And so essentially, I eventually moved away from just giving advice to getting licensed in order to, one, I can do life insurance, which is key for folks to have. My pet peeves are GoFundMes. When folks pass away, it gets under my skin.
Oh my God, it gets under my skin. Like, the funeral's tomorrow. We setting up a GoFundMe today. Like, what are you? What? You didn't know they had terminal cancer?
It's to cover the shortfall. The GoFundMe the day before a funeral is to cover the shortfall. That's what that's about. But yeah, so I went straight into getting licensed in all these areas and fully educating myself in, various different products and vehicles as it relates to setting the foundation of your financial home, having life insurance, having a savings, whether that's the long-term savings, short-term savings, your emergency fund. Now you need to start to invest. What should you invest in? Well, it depends on where you are in your journey. Introducing folks to know what a 401k and IRA is, a mutual fund account, like just going through all of those things and getting licensed to make sure that not only was I giving folks information, but I could provide them with a solution. And so pretty much.
How long ago was that you were on that journey?
I did the licensing at least 7 years ago.
Okay.
I started taxes 20 years ago.
Okay.
And because I was in a tax, element, I was talking to people about money all the time.
You could see what they were doing.
Yes.
Or not doing.
Yeah. So then I went into the workshops because I was like, oh, folks need information. They need to know the things they need to do, right? I went into the workshops. And then the first thing I got was a life insurance license, which I did do that I did that in 2012, I believe. So that's been well over 10 years. And then for time, I was like, giving people the basics, but needing to know, like, and trust someone that I could refer them to when it related to investments. And then essentially, I basically started pursuing my investments licenses back in 2018. Okay. And I did the 6, 63, and 26. And now I'm looking for the last level, which is to be able to kind of physically manage folks' accounts the way I manage mine. Like, I know how I grew my retirement account into a 7-figure account, right? I know how I did that. And I can try to tell folks how to do it. And some people take my advice and they do it. And there's some people say, can you just do it for me? Like, I don't want to try to learn and figure this out or understand, right? And so that's where my 65 comes in, because I want to make sure I'm in compliance, that I'm not doing things that I'm not licensed to do. And so, yeah, I would say in the next 2 months, that'll be what's under my belt, the Series 65.
I love that for you. And if you're going to do it to the best of, maximize your potential. I tell everybody that, this is so off topic. There was a movie. This is going to sound so bad. She was telling the girl, "You doing wrong. You're out here in these streets. You're a HO, know what?" And she's like, "If you're gonna be a HO, what? Be the best HO, what you can be. Like, if you're gonna be that, be the best one you can be. What are you doing? You should be rich. You should be a gazillionaire, 7 figures, 8 figures, like you just said." And I think, speaking to the way my mindset was when I'm gonna just say 25 versus 49. I will be 50 March 5th. Praise God.
Oh.
50.
No, don't look it.
Thank you. But I never, like the numbers you just threw out, Series 6, Series that. I think it's intimidating for a lot of people that are not versed in finance, and they feel like it's out of their scope, especially if you didn't grow up even with a 2-parent home, or you grew up in poverty, or you just grew up with mom, dad just barely getting by. You think that certain things are just not within your grasp. And that's what I'm trying to do with the children that I work with is, yes, it is. You have 13-year-olds who are literally millionaires off of TikTok and whatever it is they're using, Instagram.
Listen, I know teenage traders.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's who I had on here. I had a guy a couple months ago, and he was trying to teach them, like, hi, you guys can be rich today if you do what I tell you. Talk to us, Shamika, please, about the biggest mistakes, and this is completely safe space. The biggest mistakes that you see people making financially when you're doing their taxes, what, aside from just not having, like you said, insurance plans or anything, what are they doing that you just wish people would stop right this instant? Stop doing this.
Playing with their tax exemptions on their at their jobs, putting down 99 exemptions, not paying the taxes, and then owing at the end of the year. And then the other part is, again, this is where it comes into understanding tax law and understanding tax implications. Is there are folks who automatically go into retirement saving plans through their employer. They get into a tough bit, and they need money. And they go and they pull that from their retirement, but they don't know the different avenues they can go about withdrawing that money that could reduce the tax implications on it.
Okay. Because I did that when I was a teacher in New York. We've had several emerging. You know how New York is. New York will have you in a crisis every other week.
Yes.
Fortunately, I did have some money to pull from, but I had to pay it back. So, I paid it back, and they, they'll work with you. They'll take it back out of your your check weekly, monthly, whatever. But a lot of people don't understand that. And then, like you said, they find themselves in a bind when Uncle Sam is like, hi, you know, you owe us 80,000 million gazillion dollars.
Yes.
Because it's a loan. It's
I literally have had people like are in shock when it's time to file the taxes and it's coming out that they owe. And then my next question to them is, well, the representative that you were speaking with, did they not explain to you, you know, certain things? And what I've come to realize is that some folks are in roles and in positions not because they truly have a passion to be there. It's just a paycheck for them, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know the right questions to ask,
Mm-hmm.
they may not be offering you the right information or any information. They're just saying, oh yeah, you want to do it, you can have it by this date, by that date. What account do you want it to go in? Like they're just going through the process.
Got it.
Of processing your request of the withdrawal, but not pausing to give you the relevant information as to what that withdrawal, the impact of that withdrawal, and what to expect, you know, once you get the money, right? So those are the two biggest things that I see over and over again with filing taxes is either folks are playing around with their exemptions and they're not paying enough taxes through the year. And I will tell you this, I'm not against that. But if you're going to do it, at least be on your own, either saving or investing the money that you know that you're going to need to pay on that income come April 15th, right? Don't do that. Don't save any of it. You don't have any of it reserved. You haven't invested to me, if you're going to do it, make money on it, because ultimately that's what happens when our tax dollars are taken from our paycheck. They're investing that money and they're making money on our money, right? And they're turning around and giving us a refund of our overpayment of taxes. So if you're going to withhold paying them the taxes because you don't want them taking your money, making money on your money, then you should be doing what they're doing, which is using that money to make money, to grow money, right?
Money.
And in that, in turn, you turn around April 15th. One, you can pay what you rightfully owed for the income that you've earned, but you've also leveraged that money and actually made something throughout the year. Now you're in debt. If you didn't do that, if you didn't invest it, if you didn't leverage it and try to make it and grow it, right? Now you're in debt because you still have to pay the taxes that you didn't pay during the year, and now they're adding on penalties on it. And they're adding on interest on it. So now your money is costing you money versus making you money.
Wow. I played those types of games in my 20s when I was
I'm familiar.
Sales. I think one time we were so gangster with, this is in Detroit. I don't know who told me to do this, but I think I had went months and months and months where they weren't taking any taxes. They're like, you can just exempt yourself, girl. You can pay that back later. Thankfully, I was making enough that when I got that big old tax bill, I was able to pay it. But there were a lot of people who were not. And they like, I don't have the money to pay, but you've been balling out of control all year with no taxes being taken out. What did you expect was going to happen? You didn't buy a house with that money. You didn't buy a car. You didn't buy nothing. Okay. So now you just been, what did you think was going to happen? So I'm thank you for clarifying that for people.
Yeah.
This is that time of year where people either have a lot of fear about tax time or they get really excited because they're like, oh, yay, we're about to get our tax return. In your honest, humble financial opinion, do you think that this year, with everything that we're going through with this country and our economy, do you think that people should really be prepared to get a minimal, if any, type of a significant return back for W-2 employees?
For W-2 employees that have had, you know, the right exemptions and have been allowing taxes to come out, they can expect a return. If you're an hourly employee as well, the one thing that I will say is beneficial to folks right now is the overtime deduction, right?
Okay.
The no taxes on overtime. And I think it was spelled out that way, no taxes, but it's really a tax benefit of saying, hey, if you did have overtime income, there is a deduction for you that will give you back a credit in your taxes. And that to me is if you're an hourly employee, you are married filing joint, and I'm gonna be very clear here because everyone's not getting this credit. If you are married filing separate, you are not getting the credit.
She's going to say it one more time for the people in the cheap seats. If you are married, filing separate, and you are trying to get the overtime credit, you are not getting it.
No, it has parameters around it. And to me, when I kept hearing it just broadly said, I just knew it was going to come down to some form of criteria that needed to be met and parameters around it, right? There's also an income requirement around it, right? If you're someone who makes, as a single person, if you're making more than $150,000 a year, again, the idea of this credit is no longer applicable to you, right?
Wait, like 150, under 150, you're okay.
Under 150, you'll get it. Anything over 150, the credit phases out.
You can't get okay, got it.
Right. And if you're married, filing joint, that number increases to 300,000. Right. So if you're two people in the household making money and that income does not, exceed 300,000, and you have overtime and you're filing jointly, you would be able to have access to that credit. So I think, and the other biggest thing is there used to be a cap on the state, local real estate property taxes area. It was a $10,000 cap. So it didn't matter if you owned a home and you had $20,000 in property taxes that you pay a year, or let's say, if you work in New York, you have New York State tax and New York City tax. If those taxes exceeded 10,000, your cap was 10,000. This year, that cap isn't there. Okay. So if I pay $15,000 in state and local taxes, and then I turn around and I pay another $7,000, $8,000, or $9,000 in real estate taxes on my property, then whatever that total number is, I'm getting a higher deduction as it relates to state and local taxes.
Okay.
That again is opening up an opportunity to reduce your taxable income, which then also increases the potential for a refund. So there are things that are there that is, helpful and beneficial. But for folks who went out there and was avoiding taxes the whole time, none of this means anything to you because you don't even have any tax deduction anyway.
And you're trying not to owe.
Right now, you're just trying to.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, I don't even remember what a tax refund looks like. I am just trying to have it zero. Okay. Mm-hmm. The funniest thing I tell people when during COVID, when everybody was getting their little COVID checks or whatever they call PPO, whatever that check was.
The economic impact payment.
I got a check. You ready?
Yeah.
I got a check for $4.50 signed by President Donald Trump. I kept it. Okay.
I think that's the lowest I've heard.
I was like, is this funny or is this supposed to be funny or is this a joke? Or I wasn't expecting to get a lot, but it was for $4.50. I said, it's going to cost me more to cash the check than it is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, that goes to typically what happens is once you get closer to the income threshold, they start to phase out the credit. So the person who is at that considered low income, moderate income, they're probably the ones, those are the ones that we're seeing the $1,200 checks and the $600 checks. Mm-hmm. But the closer you get to that income threshold cutoff is the less of that you can possibly get. And in your case, which is I don't think I've heard anything that low, but $4.52 was where you landed based off of their criteria.
They did that on purpose. He was trying to be smart. It's okay. It's okay because he gonna get his karma. Every time I think about it, I get mad. But anyways, it's okay. He gonna get it. As a single person, is it better if you don't have any children? Like you said, no spouse, no children, no hidden spouses anywhere. Is it better to file single or head of household?
If you have no children, you can't file head of household.
Did you guys hear that? Because somebody told me something different. Mm-mm. It was an attorney, actually. He was like, you're in your house, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you take care of yourself? It was back in Detroit. Girl, this is Detroit gangster.
No, okay. It doesn't work that way. To have the head of household status, you have to say that your income is taken care of, not just yourself, but taking care of someone else in a household. It's not just
maybe it was because my mom was alive at that time. If your
mom was alive and living in the house with you, then what would have happened was your mom would have went down, even if you didn't put her as a full dependent, because you can put someone down as a non-qualified dependent. So you're not actually claiming them fully, but the fact that they live in your home and you provide more than 50% of their living would then give you head of household status. But they would ask, you would need to provide your mom's name and social security number.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yes.
Just at that time and everything. Okay.
Yes, if that's the case. So let me change what I said. It's not that if you don't have a child, if you don't have a dependent, right? Because it could be a niece, it could be a nephew, it could be a parent that basically is living at home with you and you're providing living for yourself and someone else.
Got it. Maybe that's why. Okay.
Yeah.
I take that back, person. You know who you are. Sorry. But that was the year. It was one of those years that I should have owed a lot of money. And he was trying to help me anyway, that he could. He was a tax attorney. All right. I had someone ask the question. I got a lot of questions, but they sent them to me so late that I'm like, I'm gonna do the best I can. But someone wanted to know if their spouse has a property that they pay bills on. They're not on title. They're not on deed, nothing, not on the mortgage, but it is their wife's house. Can they claim what they pay in that house? If they're paying bills, paying property taxes, whatever, or like giving her the money for it, can they claim that?
Are they filing jointly?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
If they're filing jointly, then yes, because filing jointly, she would automatically be on the same tax return as he is, or she is, right? And in that case, all of the expenses would be going on a single return. When you're filing a return, it'll ask you, is this the taxpayer or spouses? Let's say if it's the income, or let's say if it's 1099 or 1098. Like it has the option for you to indicate this is for the spouse or this is for the taxpayer. So if you're filing together, it's all one tax return. It doesn't matter whose name is in what, it can go on that tax return. If you're not filing together, although I know some folks who have done it, you shouldn't be claiming it if you're not on the deed or the mortgage, right? The only way that you can, which is you do it, right? But you would need to make sure you maintain documentation, and the wife would need to provide, some form of letter stating that you have been providing X, Y, and Z. And I'm saying that because you may be selected for audit, right? If you get selected for audit or for review, and they're saying, well, you claim X, Y, and Z property taxes, but we have no record of you owning any property.
And
right?
What if that spouse already didn't put in for it? They filing single, and now y'all got two people claiming.
Right. So that's why I said it would have to be an understanding with the spouse where it's already very clear about what you're going to be doing. And that person would be providing you with a letter of some sort that says, hey, I'm giving XYZ person this permission to claim, these deductions as they have been providing for me financially and has basically, X, Y, and Z. And there's other avenues of doing that too. Honestly, you kickstart an LLC and you start having those payments going from the LLC to paying that, then you have the documented proof that you've been covering those expenses, right? So that's an avenue too. That's a strategy too.
And hold that thought, because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We hope you guys are getting something out of this, but we will be right back on the comment section. We're going to tackle what she just said. Give us a second.
Do you often feel like the issues that are featured on network TV don't interest you, don't affect you? Do you feel like the arts and cultural events that are featured don't really interest you? Do you generally feel like your voice goes unheard? Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, Millennium News 24 is here to help you. I'm Shirley Phillips, and I'm the host of The Comment Section, a new show on Millennium News 24, airing on Sundays, and we are airing on all streaming media. MillenniumNewsTV24.com, MillenniumNews24.com, Apple TV, Roku TV, Fire TV, Horizon Satellite, and drumroll please, all smart TVs. So there's no excuse for you not to catch up with us. We hope to see you on Sundays on Millennium News 24.
All right. And we are back. Hope you are back with us. And what we were talking about before the commercial break was that LLC. That LLC can make or break somebody that is in debt or in trouble with Uncle Sam. And I just want Shamika to explain first for people that are not versed in what it is. Can you explain what an LLC is? At the bare minimum, what can an LLC look like? Because it doesn't have to mean you own Amazon Prime. It doesn't mean you own Google. A LLC can be something that you'd be like, I could claim that as a. So I'm going to let her talk to you guys. What is an LLC and how can a person go about getting one?
So an LLC is a limited liability company. It can be a business that you start up by filing articles of incorporation. And it could just be you by yourself, which would be considered a single member LLC. It could be because you provide certain types of services. For instance, when I first started doing taxes, I was just doing preparing taxes for folks, right? I put a business around it to keep it as a separate entity from me personally, right? Mm-hmm. So if anything happened in the course of me providing that service, I would be protected with a separation of an entity, LLC, as the responsible party in any, issue that was being held against the company versus me personally, Shamika, and my personal assets. That's not 100% proof, but it does give you a layer of protection of separating something that you're doing as a service or as a business versus your personal assets. Now, what's important about that is, you could be someone who decorate for parties. If people are saying, hey, can you come and decorate for me? And
they're my balloons.
Yes. Doing the balloon decorations, right? That's a big one.
It's a business.
I want you to know that I never knew how much that costs.
Ma'am, I'm going through it right. Well, my friends are going through it right now. I'm like, y'all paying these people this much to do balloons and whatnot. Yeah. And it's needed. It's necessary.
Yes. So like the decor, cooking food, like you could be providing food, meal services. People are paying you $5 a plate, $10 a plate. You literally can have an LLC that you create around this particular service or product that you're providing and keep it a separate entity. Now, I will say this to anyone. When you say make or break you, it is true. Because folks who start to do things as a business but don't treat it as a business and they start to commingle everything. When I say do it as a business, that means you get a separate bank account. You have your payments going directly written to the business, not to you in that bank account. You're paying bills from that bank account or charging things related to the business from that bank account. It is detrimental for you to say that you are running a business, you have a business, and you commingle everything happening in and out of your personal account.
Yeah.
Because at the moment that you get audited or the moment you get some form of even a lawsuit, let's say you went to do a party, do a setup, and somehow one of your, pieces of equipment that you use to set up, someone tripped over it, they fell, now they're suing you.
Yeah, now they're suing you.
And I say you because it's not going to be the business that they're suing because you never separated yourself from the business. You guys have been operating as one entity.
Taking funds, operating as an entity, but you never set it up and you didn't have any of the payments sent to that LLC, to that company. Balloons are us. Whatever you come up with, that's who those funds. I can't emphasize that enough because I've seen people almost like end up in orange jumpsuits.
Yes.
Because they were doing all of these services and they were just having the money in their regular account thinking they were slick. Right now is not the time to do that, you guys. They are fine-tooth combing everything because America is broke. Okay. America needs food stamps right now. We're broke. America's broke. Can't emphasize that enough either.
I'm going to say that very, very clearly, that when I say you start an LLC and you have money coming in and out, it needs to be coming in and out of a separate business bank account, separating it from you, the person. Because if you have it commingled and something happens, everything is up for grabs. Yeah. Everything that exists because of the business and everything that you have personally becomes up for grabs. Because there's no line for the IRS to say whether or not this is the business or this was Shamika.
That's right. That's right. And don't think if it's a nonprofit or whatnot, it's the same rules apply for nonprofit, probably even more so for nonprofits because
Much stricter.
More strict because these people are
Yeah.
getting write-offs for what they're donating or giving to. They're using you to not, oh, you're a tax write-off because they're donating or providing services to you. So even more so for nonprofit.
Yep.
Both. But for a beginner, maybe they just maybe somebody got some money, somebody was gifted some money, and they're like, Shamika, what should I do in order to put myself in a better financial position? Somebody gave me $10,000 and I don't really know what to do with it. Should I, try to buy property? Should I try to buy some stocks, since the stock market is predicted to crash soon if it hasn't already? What would you advise a beginner that's completely green? What would you advise them to do with that $10,000 right now?
If someone's completely green, I'm not going to tell them to go and do real estate. I'm not going to go and tell them to go into the stock market, right? There's things you need to understand about both of those avenues that involve risk.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're green and all you have is this 10 grand that someone provided to you, would I tell you to invest it? Absolutely. Right. But I don't want to tell you, oh, go invest it in the stock market, and you're picking out single stock investments that you don't have the expertise to understand.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah, the ups and downs of what the stock market is. And quite frankly, folks get this very, very confused. I'm gonna tell you now, when the stock market goes down, that is when you should be buying like a homeless person who somebody put food in front of. Okay. You should be buying up and eating up every and anything, because that's when you're able to purchase at discount. It's like you're going into the 99-cent store and picking up real Gucci.
Seriously.
Okay.
You always buy when it's bad. That's what I was taught. And then you let it ride out, and then you could literally be a millionaire based off of $2,000-$3,000 if you have the people that know what they're doing handle that money for you at the time. You're doing that now. You'll be able to do that for them when you are at financial.
Yeah, I mean, I could still help them with the mutual funds, all those things. Like that license is there, but me doing it like the day-to-day of saying, hey, I'm gonna move it into this fund, I'm moving into that fund, is what I'm now doing my license for. But for someone who has 10 grand and you're getting out there, I'm going to tell you to go invest in something that has, it's a portfolio, right? It's a pool, right? Why? Because you're not relying on the performance or the success of one company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell that person that you should probably put that money in a mutual fund account, because they're pulling together the top, let's say 10, the top 15 in any different industry, right? They're taking tech, they taking utility, they're taking all the things, right? And they're saying, these are the areas that people need to live.
Yeah.
These are the things that we know, regardless of what's going on, even if it goes down a little bit, it has to come back up, because these are the things that folks need, right? And folks are going to continue to spend money on, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? We need gas to get in our cars to go from point A to point B. We need food to eat to survive, right? We need a life, right?
They gotta have it.
Yeah. So in that sense, like a mutual fund is going to pull all those things together, and you're going to be investing in a pool of
absolutely
companies, right? And then the other thing is, when you think about something like ETFs, like, to me, again, you think about a pool of things. It's literally looking at the market and saying, hey, we're going to benchmark off of the best, and that's what we're going to have in this fund, and that's what we're going to rely on making a certain amount of return. And we know even if it goes down, it's going to go back up.
It's going to go back up. You just got to ride it out, be patient.
Yes.
And just leave that money. Don't even consider that money. Once you let whoever you're using it right now, Charles Schwab, whoever, once you let them handle it, it's just gone. But just know that it's going to give you a return. You just got to ride it out. You're not going to be a millionaire by next Tuesday. No, but just hold on to it. I experienced that back in whatever year that was, 2009, 10, whatever, whenever the market was the worst. And I didn't know what the heck was going on, but that person was absolutely correct. So my question to you is, or next question is, for someone maybe that doesn't make a ton of money, what would be a minimum amount that someone could start with to start purchasing some of this stuff now? What do they need to
The great thing about pools, like when you're doing funds, you can start with $25 a paycheck.
Yeah. And have
Right?
it come directly out.
Yeah, nothing says that you have to start out with $5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand. You don't have to start out with saying, oh, I have to have at least $500 a month. You literally can say $25 a week if you get paid weekly, or $25 every 2 weeks. You get, every 2 weeks. You can literally start with that. And the greatest part of that is dollar cost averaging, where over time, what you're looking at as something as small, over time, with the consistency of doing it and being able to buy at that fractional rate of saying, okay, I know Amazon is in the hundreds of dollars per stock. If I invest in this fund, it could include some Amazon, but I'm able to take my little $25 and get a little piece of the pie, a little piece of the pie. And over time, with compounding interest, which you look at as something like, this ain't no real money. You look up one day and you have $10,000, $15,000, $17,000, because you're not only investing and you're only seeing your money that you've invested. What happens over time is it's going to be the money that you invested, your principal, then there's going to be plus interest and plus appreciation, right? So if a company starts doing, phenomenal, you own a little piece of the pie when it was at $100 and now it's $500. You still own a piece of that pie just by doing your little 25, 25, 25.
Absolutely.
And it's just 5X. And you are in it and you get a little piece of that 5X.
I'm telling you, I can't emphasize this enough, guys. This is the time to listen to the people that know. And even if you want to do your due diligence and go back and double check it, this is the digital era. You can go on ChatGPT, you can go on YouTube, and you can go and look up what they're saying to make sure that a company or a person is not trying to scam you or what am I trying to say? Capitalize off of your ignorance. You can go do this research yourself, literally in 30 seconds on your cell phone.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is the feds. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
They'll tell you stuff you didn't even want to know. And you'll be like, oh my God, ChatGPT is writing whole college dissertations for people. It's to the point now, a lot of universities are trying to ban cell phones and computers in their lecture halls because they don't know what the students wrote, what ChatGPT wrote, and it's getting scary out there. So we say all that to say, it is, what is this, February the 8th, 2026. Things are changing very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, worldwide, not just in the United States, as evidenced in these blah, blah, blah files and your blah, blah, blah leader of a certain country. You need to be prepared for the worst, because the worst could be knocking at your door tomorrow. What can they do, Shamika? Or let me ask you this. What's something that someone who might have a little bit saved, I always say the average person, what can the average person or the average couple do within the next 90 days to start seeing a significant increase in just their personal savings account? They don't have time to get a second job. They don't really have, a lot of money to do much. Credit may not be, he might have a 600, 650. What can they do to start seeing some money immediately in their savings account?
I'm going to say this, and I mean, this is like really back to basics, but I used to always say to folks, so what are you willing to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow? Right? Mm-hmm. And what I'm about to say, I will let you know that I'm about to do the same exercise. You need to look at your finances and say to yourself, where is my money going? You literally have to say to yourself, where's the money? It's there. And what I've been doing over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, because sometimes even when you have it, you get into a place of comfort where you're not being financially prudent, right? And so over the last 3 or 4 months, I've been looking at what's going out. The commercial. I save money with I don't want to be doing
Right.
ads because they're not paying you nothing, right?
Right. Exactly.
But I will say, I went from saying every month I'm on auto pay with my car insurance, with my homeowner's insurance. It's the bundle. They just every month
Take it out.
$500. And I said to myself, I remember when I was only paying X amount. How did I get here?
How do we get here?
Yeah. And all I did was sit there and go on, again, we're in a digital era. All I did was go on the computer and I just put in, I'm looking for insurance. These are the cars, this is the home. And literally a third of what I was paying.
Yep.
I literally right now currently am paying a third of what it was.
Wow. And how long did it take you to get to that? Minutes
Barely. I mean, 10 minutes. The after part was a little longer. The after part was about 45 minutes, because once they gave me all the options and then I selected which one I was going to go with, I then got on the phone with a representative from that person, gave them all the details and information of, because I needed to transfer, right? Because they then would communicate with my old insurance to cancel because they were taking over. So literally, let's say between me going on the internet of 10 minutes and then me talking to a representative to make sure everything got transferred and canceled, that whole period was about an hour, right? And now I'm saving, well, I'm gonna say my family is saving $300 a month.
Wow. That's crazy. So by the end of the year, guys, look at what you would have to invest. Had you did that last year,
exactly.
There's your investment money.
$300 a month. Just think about that. That's basically what, $4,000? Over $4,000 for the year that you would have saved. But that's saying that you now, let me take it back. When I say not being financially prudent, there's also financial stewardship, right? And financial discipline. Because now that you're saving that amount of money on your insurance, let's say that's the area that you found that you can save some money on. Are you going to just spend that money, or are you going to give that money an assignment? Because you were used to coming out of pocket with that money anyway. The next best move would be, hey, I'm going to invest $300 a month into my mutual fund, or get a fund set up, or let me get a, IRA set up. Put that money somewhere, assign it a job to make you money.
And just act like you don't have it, even though you know, and you can see that
you don't have it.
Just act like you don't have it.
If you don't give that money an assignment, what ends up happening is you look at me and say, oh my God, where did that extra $300 go? Yeah. Oh my God, how can I not have money again? The next exercise I'm about to do is, I don't know about any of you, but I get to binge watching TV every now and again. I have like spurts of it. I'll go a month or two where I barely turn on the TV.
Guilty, me too.
And then I'll have a month where I'm binging everything. But in that binging, Starz is having a special right now. Let me sign up for Starz. Let me sign up for this. Let me sign up for that. And then what ends up happening is you have, 10 different subscriptions that you don't even remember that you had. And the little $9.99, $14.99, $7.99, all these 99s is hitting your account, and it adds up sometimes to like $200 a month.
Yeah, it adds up. All these 99, I love that. That's a beautiful title for a chapter of somebody. But all these 99s, because you look like, it's only $99. That's $100 that I could have been doing. You know what I stopped? I'm so proud of myself. I stopped. Do not judge not, lest you be judged. But I used to have a Uber Eats.
I had an Uber Eats problem too, girl.
It was bad. I was out here bad. I was down bad because I was always so tired. And I'm like, I know I need to meal prep. I know, but I can just go ahead and call Uber Eats. And I didn't care about the extra service fee. I didn't care. When I looked at my statement in 2024, I spent well over, are you guys ready? Well over $4,800 in just things that I had, either Uber Eats, Instacart. It was bad. I was ashamed. I'm like, wow, Shirley, you really did waste all that money.
And I mean, we all need to eat, right? But the problem is when we do Uber Eats and things like that, it's literally typically just one meal, right?
It's one meal.
So that same $4,800 that you spent in Uber Eats, you probably could have spent $2,000 and change of that in groceries and still would have had more than you got in those one meals that you had. Listen, I had the same problem. There is no judgment here. I literally had weekends where I would come in on a Friday and it was like, oh, this is my weekend. And I'm ordering. And in one weekend, I can add up Uber Eats orders that was $200 and $300.
And you were fine with it because we justify it. I'd be like, well, I'm single, you know, I'm an only child. I'm used to doing, I'm getting what I want. Ma'am, you need to be that, like I said, that much more prudent and that much more conscious, because who's going to take care of you? You don't have a husband here taking care of you, or mom or dad here to take care of you like they did when you were a child. You're a whole grown woman. Stop making these excuses.
I'm telling you, like, I was that person that was like, thought nothing about it, because ultimately in my mind, I was like, oh, well, if I went out to eat this tonight, which honestly, because I'm a homebody, that was my excuse. Because if I was a social being,
you said I would have been spending it anyway, because I would have been out.
Yeah, because I'd have been out at happy. It's a Friday night. I'd have been out at happy hour over here with this one, out to dinner over here with that one. So when I would come home and be in my own little sacred space here, and I would buy, I mean, I'm ordering all the things. I'm ordering the bottle of wine to go with the steak I just ordered.
All the things.
And I'm having it all. And literally, I had started to try to get a handle on that, and I did cut back a lot. And then when I met my husband, when I tell you financially prudent,
is he a Capricorn? What's his birthday?
He's a Taurus. He is of April 20th.
Or Earth sign. They don't play about their money.
Let me tell you, when I say financially prudent, that is he. And I think God sent me the person I needed to also kind of help me with that level of like discipline. Now, mind you, like notice I said, when you're not struggling, you still have the same problems as someone that is struggling.
Yes.
Poor financial management has nothing to do with how much money you make. Poor financial management has to do with what you do with the money you make.
That's right. Discipline. A lot of people found that the hard way. And I pray that this little mini shutdown or whatever ends or has ended, because I haven't been watching the news like I should. But when they shut that government down, there's a lot of government employees out here. You have people with doctorates, and I am not being facetious, doctorates on the food line, because they were taking their $200,000-$300,000 a year that they make, balling out of control, not really saving, and they did not have enough money to cover themselves for that little 2 or 3 months, however they were, out of an income. They weren't getting a check at all.
And it's sad.
Isn't that sad?
It's sad. There's a part of it that you got to say, oh my God, like I this administration, you're mad at what the administration is causing. But the fact that these folks were not able to carry themselves for 2 or 3 months or 4 months, that's sad. And the only one responsible for that is them.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm going to say that is because we're not talking about folks that are making barely above minimum wage, who can't keep up with the cost of living. You're talking about people who are 6-figure earners. And that means that in the course of them rising in their career, in the course of their salaries, increasing with the longevity of them being in their career, they basically kept making more and spending just as much as they were making.
Yeah. I get it and I spend it. I get it and I spend it.
Right.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate for 1 second. Yes, we do want you guys to be more prudent and more financially responsible and mature, but we also don't want people, especially single women. That's my ministry right now, especially single women. We don't want you to feel like everything you do has to be work, save, invest. So maybe have like incentive for yourself, maybe once a month or maybe once a week. I don't know. You splurge and do something to reward yourself for how hard you're working. But you have to put the majority of your time and your energy into taking care of your financial hygiene, because it's bad out here.
Yes. And I will say, you don't have to be someone who's not spending anything at all, right? It's the idea of finding the best way and the smart ways to spend. And I'll give a real easy example. I'm someone who loves massages, and I used to treat myself to massages every year for my birthday. I also used to treat myself every year to like some real designer brand. I don't care what it was, a shoe, a bag, whatever, right? Number one, I found I could do a membership for the spa, which cost me less if I was a member and I would get my spa treatment versus just coming out of pocket and paying,
$200.
2 or 3 times for the year, the $300, right? So again, it's not about not treating yourself well. It's not about not taking time out to take care of you, right? It's about just being smarter with how we are spending our money.
And do your due diligence, guys. It took her 10 minutes to find out she could save herself money with a bundle. She's paying a third now of what she was paying. That's major. And these companies, they're out to make money. We got about 30 seconds left. They're not here to help you. So they're not going to tell you, hey, we don't want you to pay $500 for your insurance anymore. They're not going to tell you. You have
they're going to collect that $500 every month.
As long as you're dumb enough to pay it, they dumb enough to take it. And especially now. Yeah. Okay. So quickly, before we run out of time, please tell our audience members, we don't care if you are in the US, if you are in Thailand, London, wherever you're watching us from, please tell them how they can get your help, get your services. Where on social media can they find you?
It's actually my name, www.shamikamurphy.com. I'm also on Instagram as Shamika Murphy. If you ever wanted to send me a DM message to reach out, you can do so. I also am on LinkedIn as Shamika L. Murphy. So you can reach out to me literally by my name, right? Outside of that, taxes.shamikamurphy.com. If you specifically need tax services right now, we are in tax season. I am taking new clients, but you can reach out as well.
Thank you guys so much. This needs to be a part 2, but if you have other questions, address them to me. I can forward to her, or you can reach out to her directly. But thank you guys so much.
I'll give you a part 2 next month.
What's that?
I can give you a part 2 next month.
There we go. Part 2 next month. You heard it from her mouth, guys. Have a wonderful, safe, warm weekend, and we will see you all next week.
See you all. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Thank you, Shamika.
Welcome to Millennium News 24, your trusted source for accurate, unbiased news. We're here to bring you the stories that matter most from America and around the world with integrity and a commitment to truth. In today's world, where misinformation can easily spread, having access to reliable news is more important than ever. At Millennium News 24, we aim to cut through the noise by delivering clear, fact-based reporting. Whether you're following major events or looking for in-depth analysis, we are here to serve you with transparency and respect for all communities regardless of color, wealth, or religion. This beautiful America was built by the resilience of its people, immigrants, entrepreneurs, doctors, and everyday individuals working together to create something great. It's this spirit that inspires us to provide you with news that's inclusive, honest, and relevant. We believe that informed citizens are the foundation of a strong society, and we strive to give you the knowledge you need to make a difference. From breaking news to insightful features, we bring you comprehensive coverage on politics, economics, health, culture, and much more. We believe that everyone deserves access to the truth, and we are proud to be a part of a global network that connects people through information. Stay informed by following us on your devices, including iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, and Smart TVS. And for global access, we're also available on Horizon Satellite. Visit us at www.milleniumtv24.com or www.milleniumnews24.com to stay updated at Millennium News 24. Our mission is to promote unity, understanding, and progress in a rapidly changing world. Join us as we work to inspire positive action through the power of truth. Thank you for watching. Follow us, subscribe, and stay informed.